Okay, welcome everybody to the Tuesday night chart chat. We're going to be talking about baby unicorn stocks ready to take off. They're on the launch pad. These are unicorn moon rockets heading to Planet HundredBagger. Of course, this is not guaranteed. This is a possibility, probabilities. You got to do your own due diligence. As they say, nothing here is a recommendation to buy or sell securities, which are all very, very high risk. Everything we talk about, all these 100 baggers, 10 baggers, they can all go to zero. We actually have not had anything go to zero yet, but it is a possibility. So anytime you look at any of these stocks, you got to look at it as public. Look, the business we're in is public venture capital. If you want to go for the big bucks, this is a high stakes game. You want to get those 10 baggers, 20 baggers, 50 baggers, like we've had in the last 20 months or so. And by the way, I'm only using this track. I only talk about these 10 baggers from the last 3 years or so, since we launched the next super stock program. I'm not even counting. We've probably had, I don't know, dozens, hundreds of 10 baggers just on the regular Wall Street Reporter stuff in the past, I don't know, since the 90s, like 25 years. I don't count those because those were basically just basic CEO interviews. We did updates, but it wasn't really promotional stuff. It was very just informational stuff. We have a slightly different business model today. So when I talk about the track record, I'm only including the next super stock track record, which is the new thing we've started a couple of years ago, which is what I am focused on right now. So that, look, I don't want to waste any time with stocks that, double or triple, they only go 50%. Life is too short for those. You want to go after, 10x plus, and that's what we are doing. So cheers, Jeff, Mills, welcome to the program. Okay, let's get into all the good stuff. If you're brand new to our program, please make sure you click the links in the video description below. If you want to subscribe to our Telegram channel, our Discord, regular Wall Street Reporter stuff, get on our email list. All that is in the links below. So let's get right into the good stuff. Okay, let me make this smaller. Okay, yeah, this is more important. Okay, let's start off with a big picture. By the way, tomorrow we have a live stream with two stocks, which I think are going to be phenomenal. These two companies, easy 10 bagger potential. They've done it in the past. Nextech was, I think, 15x, could have been more. It might have been 20x technically, but I don't know if the number is 1,300% or 1,500. Depends from where you measure, right? It's like certain things in life, right? Depends from which part you measure. Basically, let's just call it 1,500% increase. Nextech. Also, Pharma Drug, PHRX, Canada, LMLLF, over the counter. Both companies are going to be on our live stream tomorrow. I am quite certain. By the way, look, I have no problem telling you if a stock I believe is going to be a 10 bagger. I don't tell you, again, we have a lot of companies we've worked with, we work with. I don't say that about every stock where you hear this from me, the same type of certainty, repeating the thing over and over again. There's a reason for it, because this is a super high probability that both these stocks are going to be 10x plus again, maybe even much higher. I mean, I've thrown out that 100 bagger number. I know it's an outrageous, crazy number, but look, I mean, we've already had 50 baggers, right? So I don't know what's the difference. No, look, here's the amazing thing. With any of these stocks, the real opportunity is you only have the opportunity because everybody else thinks it's a scam, or they think it's not going anywhere. They think it's, a fugazi stock or whatever it is. It's a pen. Look, in the world of penny stocks, already you've eliminated 90% of the normal people, right? So now you're down to just let's be just very candid. In the world of penny stocks, pretty much 90% of the buyers, they're just degenerates, right? They're like, I mean, you have to be complete degenerate to buy a lot of these penny stocks, right? I mean, instead you should be buying T-bills or whatever, I don't know, IBM or whatever blue chip stock, right? These are highly speculative, right? So the opportunity, and this is the arbitrage opportunity. It's kind of like, think of this, how do I put it this, how do I make this very clear, right? I don't want to say this is gambling, because it's not gambling. We're not gambling. This is speculation, right? But, something I kind of got into recently, I mean, and I'm not a gambler of any like big, but, I really started going to a racetrack, horse races, right? Recently, because there's one out here in Gulfstream Park, if anybody knows, right? A lot of Canadians are down here for the season. But it's interesting. I don't know too much about horses, but I find it fascinating because it's very similar to penny stocks. The opportunity is when something is mispriced, right? So you have a horse, right? It's the odds are, let's call it, 20 to 1 for whatever reason. But in reality, if you kind of look at the track record, the history, the jockey, it really, compared to everything else, it should be like a 5 to 1 or whatever it is. And that's the opportunity, because people don't think, there's the other horse, whatever, the other horse looks better or this or that. Or whatever. The opportunity is when people don't believe it. That's what you're offered, the opportunity. People don't believe it. If everybody believed in the story, the stock would be much higher. So, and what makes these stocks go up is as more people become believers, as the story gets, de-risked, as they say, right? So Next Tech right now, totally beaten down, right? This is a stock that went from 50 cents to, was it $7 last year? $8, whatever the number, who cares, right? 15x. At that point, right, 50 cents, 18 months ago, nobody believed it, or very few people. Then it hit $1. A couple more people jumped on the bandwagon all of a sudden. Did anything change? Nothing changed. Then it went to I think hit $1.50. I believe it around $1.50 was a pull, or maybe $2 was a pullback. There was like a short report that came out, which shook a lot of people out. Then you had less believers. All of a sudden, stock starts moving back up, right? And listen, by the way, if you've been following the program back then, if you read the reports I put out, I told you guys this stock is 10x, 20x minimum. This is, I was saying this, when it was 50 cents, $1. And sure enough, stock goes to $2. Then it goes to $3. More people believe it. Okay, then it goes to $4. All of a sudden the momentum builds. Guess at which point the most volume came in. Where did most people buy the stock? Where were most people buying that stock? Between $5 and was it $7, $8? They were buying right, as it was going parabolic. Why weren't they buying it at $2? I have no idea. So the opportunity is when so at this point, now we've done a complete 360. We're back to where we started right now. So Next Tech, for those of you who missed out, the big move last year, when it went, 18 months ago, when it went from, 50 cents to $7, $8, you got another chance. It's exactly the same company, better. It's actually the situation is actually much better. You've seen the track record. This is the most important thing I think with these companies, and I've said this before over and over. I don't really care what the business is. It really doesn't matter, right? The main thing that matters with these company stocks is the CEO quality, right? Is this somebody that, understands what their job is? What's the job of a CEO of a company, of a public company? The job of a CEO of a public company is, what is it? To maximize the stock price, create shareholder value, right? Make the stock go up in a legitimate, ethical, moral way, obviously. And you do that with, you build a business, you have revenue, sales, products, et cetera, right? But ultimately, you got to have your eye, you got to know what you're doing when it comes to the capital markets. The problem is 90% of these guys, I got to tell you, in the penny stock world, forget about the penny stock, in the Nasdaq, in the outside of the big cap companies, because those guys have it really drilled into their heads. It's a different mindset. But when you're talking about companies under $1 billion market cap, 90, I would say 90%, maybe even 95% of these CEOs, they really don't get it. I mean, they really do not understand that, their job is to make the stock go up. They think that, oh yeah, I do, we do, we build a business, we do this, we do that. The stock is going to take care of itself. It's absolutely dead wrong. Yeah, I mean, over time, you give it 20 years, the odds, they'll work out. But meanwhile, you would have missed out so many opportunities, while all your competition who was focused on the stock price, who were maximizing that stock, they use that increased valuation to make acquisitions, to get superstar talent, to raise capital. I mean, listen, if you're a company right now, it's very hard to get talented employees. I mean, look, we're in a knowledge economy, right? Especially when it comes to these tech stocks. It's not like you're running a McDonald's. Actually, even McDonald's. I mean, if you want to get good, the top operational marketing people, you're competing with a lot of other businesses. But look, when it comes to tech stocks, who are you competing with? Facebook, Google. I mean, I don't know. Those come to mind. But Tesla, you're competing with, thousands of startups. And why do smart, talented people want to go to these companies? They want to go to because they want to make money. They want to get rich from the stock, right? Now, if you're a smart guy and you have a choice between a stock that is flying, you see this penny stock, and this could be a 20 bagger or 50 bagger or 100 bagger, or you have an opportunity to go to Facebook, right? Where, look, the stock, it's had its ups and downs, but it's mature, right? Where are you going to go? If the stock is moving and you got a dynamic CEO, you're going to go to the penny stock because that's where you can make a lot of money. You want to be involved in something exciting. So the stock price is very important. So bottom line is, to get back to where I was saying, the CEO of Nextech, Evan, he understands, he gets it. If you've been following the company, you've seen they've been doing everything absolutely correct. News flow, one of our biggest pet peeves, news flow. I've had to, make some very, how shall we say, undiplomatic comments on social media about CEOs who are not putting out news flow, VSBY. But some people, they caught on, right? So all of a sudden you see Visibility Group, all of a sudden 2 weeks back-to-back news. Gee, I wonder why, right? I mean, you got to wake some people up, right? I mean, other companies, people are all of a sudden they're waking up. They're, so you got to put some pressure on a lot of these guys, which we're going to start doing in a bigger and bigger way. And it's purely out of love, right? It's a tough love, right? I'm just here to help you, right? I'm just here to help you make your stock go up so we can all make money, right? I know what I'm doing. I'm doing this for a lot longer than a lot of these CEOs. So, I know what's involved, right? Okay, bottom line, tomorrow we got Nextech, which is massive winner. Sorry, I went off a little bit off track. You got Pharma Drug, also very, very similar. This guy knows what he's doing. Dan knows exactly what needs to be done. I have no problem. They're putting out news, doing everything. I'm very happy. I'm very happy. They're doing everything right. And what else? And that, by the way, Pharma Drug has had some massive runs also. So I'll go back to those in just a second. Let's talk about Nasdaq. But first, let's just say Mills. Okay, hello. Mills, we don't have a paid subscription anymore. It's free. It's free. We stopped doing the paid subscription last year. I think we only did it for like 2-3 months, and I realized, you know what, this is like ridiculous. It's too much pressure. I have paid subscribers. You can't look. I'm very transparent. I know a lot of people say I'm a scumbag, I'm a lowlife, this, that, whatever. I'm very transparent with what I'm doing. I'm in the business of stock promotion, right? So you can only serve one master at a time, right? Either you're a promoter or you're giving an unbiased opinion, right? So either you're getting paid by the company to help them tell their story, or you're an independent analyst and you have and if you own the stock, you disclose or whatever it is, but you're not getting paid. But you can't do both. You can't get paid. It's just too much of a conflict of interest. I thought it would be. I did it for too much. Big mistakes. Very, very stupid. I see other people doing it now. I mean, it's like amazing. I see some other guys doing it. I can't believe they're not bright. But anyway, so yeah, no subscription required. Dwight, welcome. George, welcome. Locked and loaded. Supernova, absolutely. Paid. I think they're gonna have new. I think they were waiting for. Actually, maybe I shouldn't say. Basically, I think there's gonna be news. It might take a little longer than we expect. I think this is gonna, but there should be something. These guys look. They're not going anywhere, but it might take a little bit longer. It might take, it's not going to be next week. It might be 3 weeks, 2 weeks. I don't know. Just letting you know. You get this stock requires patience. It's a real business. These people are legit. Where are they at? I haven't seen this guy in a long time. Yes, exactly. Look. Look. This is the reality. Is this is, all of a sudden I noticed on the internet, I've got a lot of these haters, and if you look at who are these people, either it's competitors, either it's my competitors. I shouldn't even say the word competitors. It's like, guys who aren't even doing their job. You got clowns out there who are allegedly in the business of promotion, although they claim to be they claim to be, I don't know, journalists or whatever, these equity guru. You got, what do you call it? You got the other guy, what's his name? I forgot the guy's name. Agora. Yeah. Low volume George. You got Fugazi Chris, you got low volume George. I don't understand it. These, like, what the hell are these guys like? These guys are saying that I'm a fraudster. I mean, these guys are defrauding publicly traded Canadian companies. I mean, they're claiming to be able to, help them get visibility, eyeballs, increase stock price volume. Where's the volume on some of their stocks? I mean, I just put up some things only because, they started, making comments. I said, hey, I'll show you what you're doing. I mean, fuck, man. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I was saying this, Agoracom, that's like a nursing home. That's where companies go to die after, they had their best years on, Wall Street Reporter. They had their big run. And, look, it's like a racehorse. They had, they've run the Kentucky Derby. And after a while, let's say they can't hack it anymore. They go on to, Agoracom, where there's no pressure. There's, nobody has high expectations of them. And, they just flounder. Look at the CBDT. I mean, I only bring this up because this guy was like, it came to my attention, was taking credit for all these CBDT, ESE, fans, a bunch of others. And then all of a sudden I see he's writing on Twitter that he's going to be snitching to, I mean, literally, look on Twitter. This guy's basically saying he's going to be writing complaints to regulators that he's going to be complaining that I am saying that stocks can go up 10x to 100x. I mean, literally, that is his big complaint, that I am saying stocks can go up to 10x, 100x, and that is something bad. I'm saying it because, we've done it. I have a track record. If you had a track record, low volume, George, you'd be able to say it, but you don't. I mean, look, this takes balls to promote stocks. It really does, especially to do it at a high level. The way I've been doing it for many, many years. I mean, you're like just a guy trying to, ride the coattails. And look, I mean, just look at the volume, CBDT. Look at the price for the last 12 months. What has it done? Look at Fans Unite. What has that done for the last 6 months with George? Look at HAPB, HAPB, which, actually Happy, I thought could have been a great stock. I mean, I think that thing I still have my Happy thing. Actually, this is crazy. I actually have my Happy. I actually have this sitting on the shelf. I still have the Happy. That company had really some high potential. I think it actually has potential, but the way it's going right now, it's going to be trading in the 5s, 10 cent range because, the volume is down, the price is down. I mean, what is this guy doing? What is he doing to get paid? It's ridiculous, right? I mean, you know, I mean, if he needs to call the SEC, what is it called? The Canadian call? What's the guy in Canada? What's the guy? Justin Trudeau. Call Justin Trudeau. Complain. Call your mommy and daddy, low volume Georgia, and complain to them. Okay, I'm done. Let's go. You're deep in peak. You're basically, you're kind of, how should I say? Peak is done. I mean, peak was done. I'll get back to peak in a little bit, but peak was done quite a while back. If you followed our live stream, look, stock we introduced at 70 cents, right? I told you guys, I mean, look, the problem is this, right? When the companies are on our platform, they usually do very well because there's eyeballs on them. So here's what has to happen. The company should either graduate to, let's say, Nasdaq and then get institutional coverage, and then they don't need what we're doing, which is fine. I'd love to see that happen. But what happens a lot of times is, they for whatever reason, they stop you. But also at the same time, look, when a stock goes up 20x, you know what? There's very limited upside for us to be involved. I mean, what are we going to be promoting it that it's going to be going another 10x? I mean, that peak is going to go from, 10x, $10 to $100. I mean, you got to be realistic. And again, I've said this many, many times before. We're not in the business of these long-term relationships with companies. We're really not. We're not in the IR model. We're not here to milk companies. This is not the, the low volume George or the, the other, promoters out there, alleged promoters, people who can't do anything. We're not here to milk companies. We're here to do something very, very specific. And I'm very transparent about it. I'm here to find stocks that are very cheap, that have massive catalysts in place. So here, 3 things. They're going to be undervalued when we get them on board. They got to have massive catalysts, they have big upside, and that's when the magic happens. And then when we take that opportunity and we present it to a massive number of investors, which is that's what we do. That's the business of Wall Street Reporter. Take a company and get it in front of massive numbers of eyeballs. That's basically the business of stock promotion, to get massive amount of attention on these stocks. What happens when you get a massive amount of attention on an opportunity? What's going on in real estate today, right? Why are house prices going crazy? Because there's, more demand than supply, right? So, when you have a lot of people interested in a stock, it goes up, right? This is not nothing illegal about this. No, we don't have to make anything up. We don't have to make lies. We don't have to make any exaggerations. Just get eyeballs. So that's what we're doing. But the problem is this. The problem happens when, after we're done with the company, after it's gone up 10x, 15x, 20x, I mean, usually that's at the end of, it usually takes about 6 months, maybe 12 months for that to happen. And at that point, usually our contract is up anyway. And, I'm not that eager to renew. So usually we don't even send out a renewal, or we give them some a very high price or something. I just don't want to, peak. I really wasn't, I didn't really, to be quite candid, I didn't really want to renew. I gave them a proposal that I think was a little bit, they thought maybe it was a little bit crazy. Because, at the time the stock was already $10. I mean, where is it going to go from there? I don't want to be stuck with it for a year when it's going down. I mean, you don't want that, right? So bottom line is, where am I going with this? So people ask me, when did the, are you still working with the company? Are you working with the company? So I don't look, I'm not here to bash companies. I'm not here, but if people want to know, are we working with the company? I have to be honest with you, right? So, I put out a message. We're no longer working with Peak. That's it. Very simple. If you it's a hint, do with it what you win. ESC, we're no longer working with ESC, by the way. That being said, yes, that's basically it. So, I'm not here to, this is not bashing companies. If I tell you we're not working with a company, I wish them the best. God bless. It's, We're on to the next one. We got to find the next 100-bagger. Okay, let's get back. I'm sorry, I got distracted here. Free entertainment. This is look. This show is not financial advice. It's financial entertainment. This is purely everything here. None of this is financial advice at all. I wonder what Calvin Ting is, man. I'd love to hear from Calvin. I know he pops up every once in a while. Okay, let's get into the good stuff. Let's go through the big picture. Nasdaq. I gotta tell you something. Something about this market, I'm really like, I don't have to tell you this, but it's very, very like shaky. Like it's we're going through like this churn, like a sideways. It's interesting. There's really usually people think, okay, there's a market that bull market, okay, great. Bear market, okay, it's going to go straight down. What a lot of people don't take into account is a sideways market that churns for like 6 months or a year. I mean, that may be the worst of all possible worlds. I mean, that's worse than a bear market. Imagine we get this constant churn like you're in a washing machine for 6 months, just like down. I mean, look, the trend right now, if you look at Nasdaq, today I know it was up. Okay, great. Great. Okay, 2%, big deal. The overall trend, if you look at it, the trend is down. We've broken the trend lines. We're below the neckline of the Nasdaq. We're below the 50 moving average. Today was actually a pretty strong day. In theory, we might get, it could be, I think it could be a fake out. I mean, because we've seen this type of action before. I mean, look, we saw this over here back March 15th. We saw the same type of chart pattern. We saw this pattern February 22nd. We saw this here. So you might see a pop. I think we could see a nice pop for a couple of days, maybe even close the gap. So we could run 500 points on NASDAQ for like a week or two before it just looks very shaky. It's just really very, very sloppy. I mean, I really don't trust it. I mean, this is like and I got to tell you, the worst thing is this: we might be in a sideways market for a while. I mean, that would actually be a nightmare scenario. Imagine what we're seeing now for the last, whatever it is. Imagine getting this for the next 6 months. It's possible we could see it. I mean, it could churn lower. It's very possible. And here was the reason why it could happen, because you got time and price, right? By the way, I recommend anybody. I don't know if any of you guys are into, like, I haven't started. When I got into technical analysis, which was like way back. There's two things which I think everybody should really study. One is you got to understand Fibonacci. You got to understand the Fibonacci kind of lines or whatever. Also, WD GAN, GANN, WD GAN. So I got into that years back. And GAN kind of takes into account Fibonacci type stuff. He's got his own thing with time, price. Very interesting. I highly recommend you study WD GAN. And there's also another guy, Bayer, who wrote some very rare books on technical analysis. But there's a lot of time, price, geometry type stuff. It's fascinating stuff. But anyway, look, here's the deal. What happens is when you have a big move like this, you have these crazy moves. It's like anything in life. It's like nature. Gann was like he was a student of nature. I guess he looked at the markets like as nature, as something of nature, because the market is a reflection of human nature, and humans are basically, we're basically part of this whole ecosystem. So we're really connected to everything on the planet. Everything around you is really just, we're really all connected, all of us. We don't even have to like each other, but we're all connected. We're all one living organism. Everything, dogs, birds, whatever, And so it's all, you should see this showing up in the market. So what happens is this, like anything in nature, when you have a massive move, you have something, imagine you're going for a massive sprint or marathon or whatever, a race. After a while, you're going to have to rest. You're going to have to take a rest for a little while, right? And it could be, usually it's in a proportion to the time that you spent in that activity, right? I mean, I don't care if you're, I don't know, Michael Jordan or whatever. All these guys, athletes, they need to rest after, a very strong performance, usually in some proportion to the exertion. So you had a market that had massive, massive level of exertion, massive amount of energy was taken up in the last 20 months, 2020, 2021. I mean, I think the market is just exhausted. I think people might be exhausted. I mean, think about this. You had this pandemic. You had the crazy, all the politics. I mean, I don't even want to get into it. I don't want to upset anybody, but you had all the crazy politics, right? Now you got the whole war in Ukraine, which, I mean, that, who knows? Putin might, he might drop a low yield nuke on part of the Ukraine. What happens then, right? I don't think people are really taking that into consideration. And this guy has nothing to lose at this point, right? I mean, he's got to win. He's going to do whatever it takes, right? So what has to happen? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the U.S. and whatever, the NATO, I mean, they had treaties with Ukraine and some sort of nuclear thing because the Ukraine gave up their nuclear weapons because they were promised this protection from the West. Where is the protection? Right? So look, the problem is you could have right now some serious black swan situation, which I seriously hope does not happen. I mean, really talking about, there's no bigger catastrophe. So, but the problem is the U.S., has a very weak leadership. America leads the world. We all know this. And it's the reality. So you got to have somebody in charge who knows what they're doing, who's a strong leader. That's not Joe Biden. And, if he drops dead, it might be even worse. I mean, what's her name? She's a dummy, right? I mean, it's really a tragic situation. I mean, look, Bin Laden was right. I mean, what did he say? He said, I think when he told his guys, back when I think Obama was on, says, don't do anything against Obama. Don't try to assassinate Obama. Actually, no, I'm sorry. No, he did say it. He said Obama's like, he said, don't touch Biden, because if Biden becomes president, he's gonna push America into a massive crisis. Biden would be a massive disaster. I mean, and the guy was right. I mean, what's work? I mean, this is going to be, this might upset a lot of people, but I mean, what's worse? The World Trade Center bombing, the whole 9/11 thing, or Joe Biden? Which one is a greater danger to the world on a net basis? I mean, net basis. If you net out number of people killed, et cetera, other potential disasters, et cetera, I would say Joe Biden's presidency has done more damage to America than 9/11. There's no question. I mean, it's not, or the world, no question about it. So anyway, I don't want to get into politics, but the Nasdaq situation is very sloppy, and it could get really, really nasty pretty quickly. So, and we could be in a sideways market. It's got to really work itself out. Okay, let's go into ARK, another one of our bellwethers. ARK, again, bellwether, Cathie Wood's bellwether for disruptive innovation, which, right now, that's what most of our stocks are, tech stocks, disruptive biotech, tech. We're not doing industrial companies. We do have one lithium stock, but yeah, so what's going on here? Again, we're below the moving average. It looks kind of similar to Nasdaq, but it's possible. It's possible we may have a strong bounce. Look, we may have a nice bounce here, which could be a huge, and we would see. Look, the pivot in ARC is, I would say, 75, even 78. If you see ARC closing above 75 or 78, I would say that's a pretty good sign that we have a next leg of a bull market, and it could be happening now. I mean, it's really very difficult to say, but it could be a head and shoulders here. Again, we're below the moving average, but I think we could see a nice rally here. I mean, really, look, yeah. I mean, this is actually right here. This looks like a pretty good setup. I mean, this looks like a pretty good setup for a nice pop. But if we're below the $78, it's no good. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of others. I'm giving you some of the bellwether speculative stocks. Okay, Teladoc. Kind of like the ARC, right? Possible head and shoulders. I don't know. I mean, again, it's still below the moving average, but it's we talked about this back almost a month ago when you had the same type of pattern almost. I think it was back here in March, right? You had almost the same type of pattern and it didn't work out. And then it's really very this market is not real. It's really not reliable. I'm just being very, very candid. I'd love to tell you, hey, it's really very, very tricky right now. DraftKings, kind of similar, but look, I mean, I think they're kind of slowing down. They're looking for a bottom. I mean, DraftKings, I think you're going to see a bottom. I think ultimately DraftKings might drop to $12, $11. I think that's where you're going to see the bottom. How do you complain 9/11 and Joe Biden? It's insane. I'll tell you how I compare. I mean, how many people have been killed in the Ukraine? Let's just say civilians, right? How many people? 10,000? 10,000? Possibly, right? How many people were killed in 9/11? 3,000, right? So, no, actually, no. By the way, I'm in the Ukraine. I'm only counting Ukrainian civilians. You got probably 3,000 Ukrainian soldiers, Russian soldiers, right? And by the way, I kind of feel bad for these Russians because these guys, there's no reason why they should be going to war. I mean, it's like there's no difference between the Russians and the Ukraine. I mean, it's the people. It's the same group of people, Slavic people. They're not like I mean, they speak the same language. It's just it's the craziest thing. They were one country as the Soviet Union. Listen, everybody has friction, but it's almost like New York going to war against New Jersey. It doesn't make any sense. So the Russians had about 10,000 people killed, right? Look, these it's mostly kids. It's 18, 19-year-old kids who did, they were just sent, they're conscripts, forced, they got to do their army service, right? They're told that whatever. They don't want to fight this war. I mean, they don't even have proper equipment. I mean, the whole situation is a disaster. So you have 20,000 plus people killed. It's not even a month. We're 30 days into this? 20,000 people killed. The country is absolutely destroyed. This is not just 2 buildings and a couple buildings, right? You're talking about cities destroyed. It's going to take decades to rebuild. Whose fault is it? It's Joe Biden's fault because he's a weak guy who, this is a guy that when people like, Putin or what's the Chinese guy, or what's his name, the Korean guy, when they look at him, they just see a guy who's just like a weak cunt. I mean, ask yourself this question, Ligos, whatever you call it. How come, when Trump was in office, 4 years, there were no wars? In fact, there was actually peace made. There was actually peace made between the Arabs and the Israelis. Nobody thought that would be possible. Between the UAE, Morocco, I think a couple of other countries. Saudi Arabia would have signed the peace treaty, but those guys, they were kind of waiting to see who's going to win win the election. So yeah, I mean, that's the reality. How many people? There were no wars with Trump. Trump was the guy who made peace. No war with Korea. Everybody said there'd be a war, right? Let's back up. Let's look at Obama. What happened with Obama, right? Massive. Oh, by the way, Trump also totally destroyed ISIS, which was running wild havoc in the Middle East. Does anybody remember ISIS, right? I mean, they killed how many thousands of people? And that was all from Obama, right? Obama was the co-founder of ISIS, basically. You had massive, just carnage, murder, rape, mayhem. I mean, atrocities like you wouldn't believe. I mean, I don't know, 10,000, 20,000 people were killed just from ISIS, purely as a result of Obama. I mean, look, you got to understand your history. I'm not here to, knock anybody. I mean, look, the reality is, we actually have to hope. We have to maybe pray that not Obama, that Obama Jr., Biden succeeds, because the alternative, what's the alternative? I mean, the alternative is worse. We got 2 years, 2.5 more years with this guy before, the great Emperor Trump can come back as, emperor for life. So yes. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the situation. Oh, interesting question. Hey, this is a great question. Okay, Tesla. Okay, so let's look at another question here. Tesla. Wow, I haven't looked at Tesla in a while. This is amazing. This is actually, wow. I haven't looked at this. When was the last time we pulled up the Tesla truck? This is a month ago, maybe. This has had a couple fake outs, right? Because I remember saying somewhere here that, hey, this thing could be going lower, could be going to 300, and then all of a sudden broke the moving average. You had this massive, if you look at this pattern, this head and shoulders pattern here, very similar to kind of the Nasdaq thing. And look what happened with Tesla after this. It went from 840 to 1100 roughly, right? 1145. So we could have a pretty decent pop in a lot of these stocks over the next couple of weeks, based on, you saw the same pattern. If you look at what you see, this pattern here with Tesla, the things I showed you with ARK, with TDOC, very, very similar. Yeah, I mean, the Tesla's actually, I mean, it's looking strong. I mean, we're above the moving average. I mean, the chart looks incredibly strong. And again, I'm not a fan of the company. I don't care. I don't give a flying. Okay, yeah, I mean, this would be amazing if Tesla just goes crazy. I mean, and this could be the big move happening. We could be seeing the big move. It makes no sense. It absolutely makes no sense. But this is actually really bullish. This pattern, very, very bullish. Wow. And this is the 1 hour chart, short term. I mean, this thing could fly. 4 hours. I think this could fly. It's really amazing. It's interesting. I think Tesla is basically recession proof in a certain way, because the people who are buying Tesla, for the most part, it's kind of an upper middle class audience. It's a wealthier demographic. So, it's a different demographic. It's also a lot of people who are real, enthusiasts. I don't know why people love this company. They love these cars so much. I think they're the ugliest things on the road. But there's people who, it's a cult. It's really a cult. I'm not saying it's recession proof, but it's one of these things which could hold. I mean, look at this. The charts don't lie. I've said this. Charts don't lie. I mean, this thing wants to go higher. That's what it is. VSB, yeah, interesting. By the way, people are saying, "Oh, this guy's bashing VSB." Look, like, here's the situation. Uh, the reality is this, right? I mean, and again, I'm going to say this only one time. I'm not going to talk about this again because it's a broken record. Look, we got involved with VSB at 17 cents. I mean, these guys, I mean, the guys who boarded me, they kind of begged me to take on the company. No, at that, I gave them a very good deal in terms of the whole price and everything at that time. It was just, and, we've been doing it for a year, right? The stock went to $2, right? Frankly, I should have gotten out of it at $2. I really should have, to be very candid with you. I got suckered in because I listened to Sean Black. And again, I'm not blaming Sean Black. I have the utmost respect for Sean Black. But the guy is such an amazing salesman. He just is such a believer that you kind of get sucked into his, because he was saying, "Oh yeah, yeah," and it was $2. And I thought, hey, the stock looked like it would have gone to $4. I mean, really, I thought it would go to $4. And Sean was like, "Oh, this is, that guy's a true believer." And, you kind of get, you got kind of sucked into it. I kind of, I got high on my own supply, if you saw that, as they said, Scarface, right? Big mistake. But the point is this, the point is that this is a stock that should not be trading where it is. And the reason is because they haven't been promoting it properly. Look, they signed the renewal with us in January. I mean, I'm honest. I thought I was doing the company a big favor. I mean, they're basically paying a third or not even half of what our current clients are paying. Okay, so a lot of money. The big difference in price. Because they're kind of they're grandfathered in. They've been, I'm relatively, what's the word? Loyalty, right? Somebody's been with me for a while. I want to give them the same price. I'm not going to, raise the price on them, although I should, because, they got so much value, right? But look, in January, they signed a new contract, and, they get into, they did one live stream in January. All of a sudden, I don't hear from the guy. Oh, I want to, then he says, oh, I want to, we should wait, we should this, we'll do a thing maybe with Sean. Basically, I'm getting all these excuses. Basically, I could kind of read between the lines. Maybe he got kind of I don't know. Look, I think, look, I'm very well aware that we have these trolls or whatever out there saying all different things to companies all the time. And somebody who doesn't know any better, somebody who's not a real capital markets guy, who doesn't really know, who hasn't been around the block enough, they get kind of probably shaken up a little bit, right? So, which is fine, because look, that kind of weeds out, the weak people, right? Look, Jay is not really a capital markets guy. I mean, he's a good marketing guy, business great, everything, but he doesn't understand stock promotion. Okay, this is not to knock the guy. Just people have their strengths and weaknesses, right? So all of a sudden, so they're not promoting the stock on our thing. Then they stopped doing press releases for a month. They haven't had a legitimate press release. And I'm holding the stock. I'm holding a lot of shares, right? Probably a lot more than 90% of people watching this. Maybe more than 95% of you people watching, right? So, look, I mean, at this point, I don't have a contract. I'm not a client. I'm a shareholder. So I have to be proactive. And if if I'm see something is not being done right, and I could do something about it, I'm going to be very vocal about it. So I put out some messages on social media saying, hey, this is what needs to be done. You got to start putting out news. And I wrote Jay a very long, detailed letter. Here's the things. Here's what my concerns are. You need to be promoting. You got to put out news. I know you have news. This is, and all of a sudden, look, the news is coming out. Now we're starting to see some action. This is what the guy should have been doing for the last month, right? And I told him, look, you cannot do a financing with this H.C. Wainwright. I mean, they put out a press release that they're doing a non-deal roadshow, meeting analysts or whatever with H.C. Wainwright. I mean, look, I respect them. I love these guys. I mean, but they're lowlives. They're like the kings of, what's called toxic financing, right? I mean, we have clients who've done it. If VSB would do a financing with H.C. Wainwright right now, it would destroy the stock. So I cannot let that happen. And I think it would create massive problems. I think there could be some significant lawsuits, class action lawsuits as a result of this. So I said, look, you cannot do a financing with H.C. Wainwright at these prices. You got to promote the stock, get the thing going, do whatever you want then, but you can't do it here where the stock is no volume, no market support. I mean, what's the guy doing right now? He's basically relying on, greasy George, low volume George, and I don't know, some broad with a YouTube channel or something. I mean, that's not that's not promotion. It's not effective promotion. I mean, look at their chart. Look at the chart January 15th to where it is now. I mean, there's no reason why it should be here. I think this company should be a $2 stock plus, at which point I would love to get out. So, yeah. Oh, Tesla earnings. Interesting. No. Listen, just so you know, look, I brought Sean onto our program because he happens to be a super bright guy. He's a great business guy, and I got introduced to him because he was involved with Tetra. He was a big investor, and he was able to really articulate the story. So I said, "Wow, it would be a great idea to have this guy on to articulate the story," which he did in very, very well. Like the guy was a superstar. But he's a true believer, which is, it's which is bad for me. I kind of got sucked into the thing with, so I blame him for that. But no, look, I actually, I think Sean, it would be very effective in explaining the story because he understands the fundamentals of a lot of these companies. But maybe listen, some people they start drinking their own Kool-Aid. So, listen, I highly respect Sean Black. Let's see here. OG. Let's see what, Organic Garage. Okay. So let's go to Tesla. Okay, let's get back. I'm sorry, I wasted an hour. I apologize. We've gone off a tangent here into stuff which is like not even, it's relevant to these penny stocks. Okay, let's go to what you're all here for, is to make a lot of money with penny stocks, which have 100x, 1,000x, billion-dollar potential. In other words, if you buy one share, I mean, for example, if you buy one share of Nova, which is NMLSF over the counter, I mean, you buy one share for 10 cents. I mean, that one share could be worth $1 billion at some point. I mean, money back, money not back guaranteed. That's my disclaimer. Money not back guaranteed. Okay. No, all kidding aside. Okay, so Nova Mendes. I got a couple of stocks. I got about 4 stocks right now, which I think have that massive 10x, 20x, possibly 100x potential. If you will, when I say 100x, that's not going to be 100x in 6 months. You're talking about, it could be a couple of years. Okay. You got to be patient. How many people are going to be patient? Nobody. I mean, I got to tell you, I've missed out. I'm embarrassed. I think I mentioned on 100-baggers. I own stocks that went up 100x, but I sold them because I doubled or tripled my money. And I thought, I'm a genius. One of them is Crocs. That was an epic mistake. I mean, Crocs, a stock I traded, I think it was like 2009. Wow. I thought it was going to be a fad. I thought, wow, this is a piece of shit. What an ugly piece of shit. Who wears it? What kind of loser would wear these things on their feet? And I think the stock, I owned it at $1. I think I had 10,000 shares. It wasn't a big thing, maybe even more. Wow, was that a massive mistake? That thing, it was 100-bagger. I had another one also. Let me get back into this here. Okay. So a couple of stocks which I think have this 10x, 100x upside. Legitimately, this is not, I'm not exaggerating. This is not whatever. Again, charts don't lie. Why do I bring you this chart up, right? Because again, this is like nature. It's like WD GAN. I suggest everybody study WD GAN, GANN. Look it up. My philosophy is this: if a stock did it before, the path has been paved. It could do it again. This is a stock that was $4. Charts don't lie. It was $4, right? I'm not making this up. Can it go to $4 again? Yeah, it can. That would be a 40 bagger from here, 40x for starters. That's just for starters. But let's get back to reality. Let's get back to where we are. Let's go through the technicals here. The problem with this chart, though, is there's not a lot of good data on it yet. It's just still, it's been relatively quiet, illiquid for a year. We're starting to see some more. So the chart is a little bit sloppy, but the main thing you want to know is this. Again, we're above the 50-day moving average. Very important. So we're significantly above the 50. So this thing has momentum. We're above the 50-day moving average. And as you can see, every time the stock goes above the 50-day moving average, it tends to continue for quite a while. So I think we're in a good situation. I think we might be seeing like a head and shoulders pattern here a little bit. It's a little bit early. It's really hard to determine. It could be maybe a double bottom compared to the others, whatever it is. But look, bottom line is this thing is on the move and it is going. I think this is actually even better. Look, this is the weekly chart. This weekly chart looks pretty strong. By the way, we're above the 50-week moving average also. So that is a very positive. We're already 2 weeks in a row above the 50. So that's very bullish. I think all this thing needs is a couple of days, and I think a couple of days of big volume, and not a lot. I mean, we're talking about $1 million. We're talking about $100,000. That's like nothing. The problem is we've been in this nasty sideways market, and it's just a very, very thin market. We're basically in a bear market. The last year it's a bear market for microcaps. I mean, I told you guys it was coming, and it came. I think in retrospect I was off? No, was I off? No, I was probably right on, because if you remember back in November 2020, December 2020, I said, after Biden gets into office, the honeymoon period wears off, the market's going to crash. Now, I thought the whole market would crash. I literally thought, Nasdaq, everything would be like, boom, would go downhill, because usually also the presidential cycle, the first year of a president's in office is usually bad for stocks. So the second year is good. So that was my thesis. And also we had the big run up after COVID. So I thought, okay, 2021 market's going to crash with Biden. And amazingly, it did crash, but all the wrong stocks crashed. Only the microcaps crashed. Actually, no, I guess the disruptive innovation stocks also. But the microcaps really got a massive beating. So let's go back to Novamenta. So look, these guys, I highly suggest you watch the videos with Marvin, Dr. Marvin. He's the chief medical officer, and very educational. This is like, you want to get into the fundamentals. You don't want to listen to this chart bullshit I'm giving you. You don't believe what I'm saying. Don't believe anything I'm saying. Watch. We have 2 great interviews. We have the interview just with him, where I'm interviewing him, and then we also have an interview with him and what's this guy's name? John Molinaro, who is a director of look, this is an autism drug, right? It's a psychedelic psilocybin thing for autism. They're going to phase 2A trials, Health Canada. It's a real deal. This is like the real deal. This is not some bullshit, psychedelics, this, that. This thing is going into clinical trials in 6 weeks. I mean, the train has left the station already. And depending on the data they get, I mean, this could be a 20 bagger. So there's a big catalyst. Highly suggest you watch it. So John Molinaro, he does like autism stuff. He's an autism what's it, color? Watch the video. It's on our YouTube channel, Wall Street Reporter, John Molinaro. He discusses, the challenges with autism, why psychedelics, why psilocybin can be the treatment. All this good stuff. I highly suggest you watch it. I can't really articulate too much because it's a little bit late and my voice is kind of shot, so I'm not gonna get too into it. But please watch the video; you'll understand it. This is the real deal. This is not some fugazi stock like some of these other mushroom stocks that are bullshit. This guy's legit. Okay, next tech. Okay, so I showed you Nova Mentis. This thing is ready to move. This is one of our baby unicorns ready to go to the moon. Let's go to the next one. This weekly chart looks, I know it looks ugly, but you have a big line of support on the weekly. Let me just show you this. Again, these looks are deceiving. There you go. We're at the support line. So this is a pretty decent time to consider next tech. There you go. We're at the support line. There we are. Geez, amazing, right? It works on a weekly chart. It works on a daily chart. I mean, it doesn't get better than this. So next tech, again, we introduced next tech, I don't know, July of 2019 was 50 cents American. I guess it was, how much was it? 60 cents? I don't know, whatever. So it goes to $10, right? Canadian. A little over 10, I think 10.03. So was it a 20 bagger? 10 bagger? I don't know, whatever, 15 bagger, who cares, right? But look, I told you guys early on, I mean, I don't think any of you were watching this when I was involved in Next Tech, but I said, I put out a report saying, look, this could be if I recall correctly, I think I said $20 stock or $40. I think I said $20. But look, let me be very candid with you, and I've said this before. When I say upside potential, you got to discount it. You got to take it with a grain of salt. So I'm giving you if everything works. So that upside potential means if everything really works out right, they fire in all cylinders and boom, you have it goes to 20x, it goes to 100x. Usually that never happens. Usually, life happens and you only get a third of the way. You get half the way there. So if I'm telling you 100 bagger, don't take that seriously. Come on. I mean, this is, when I say 100 bagger, it means realistically 25, 50x, you want to be out of it. If the thing goes up 50x, let somebody else make the money. I mean, unless you really are a true believer, you have some deep inside information, somebody, God whispered in your ear, hold on to the stock. But, really, everything I say, just discount it by 50%. It's, it's kind of the reality. But look, anyway, bottom line is next tech, I believe we're going to hit $10 again, Canadian. $10, maybe even American. And from there, I think it's going to be just the beginning. I think we could be legitimately $20, $30, $40 stock this time. But it's going to take a while. It's not going to be 6 months. It's not going to be a year. I think we could see $10. It's going to be a grind to get the $10 from next tech right here. It's going to take 12 months, easy 12 months. I think though that we could see, probably $4, $5 by September. I think we could see $4 or $5 by September. So you got a 4x, 5x by September. And with patience, 10 bagger, it's going to take you a year though. I mean, I don't know. I mean, normally you would think, wow, if I can make 10 times my money in a year, that's pretty good. I know a lot of you guys have gotten spoiled. We've had 50 baggers in 4 months. But the reality, that was an outlier event. That's, a once in a whatever, blue moon. The reality is it normally takes a year to get a 10 bagger, 10 months minimum. What's happening is we're building a base. We're building a base. Next tech is bottoming out right now. So today we broke above this moving average on the 1 hour, and then we came down below it. There was a bit of a fake out, if you will. I think that we're in very good shape. I think we're going to see some more churning type of action for the next, could be a week, could be another week of this. But I got to tell you something. This thing is really primed to go. I mean, we're in a very quiet week. This is kind of like a holiday week. A lot of people are doing a spring break or whatever excuse they're using to be lazy and not work. So the trading is a little bit light in a lot of these stocks. Yeah, look, I think 20x, easy. If you give it 2 years, I think we could be a 20-bagger stock in 2 years. Look, let's check back for this video. Mark this down on your calendar, put this on your calendar, 2 years. If I'm wrong, you can say, wow, this guy was a complete loser. Wow, Netflix. Let me look at Netflix. I'm curious. Interesting. Wow, this actually, wow, this is nice. Wow, nice action. I mean, on the 1-day chart, looks pretty good. Looks like we might have a pop. Yeah, not bad. Wow, I haven't even looked at Netflix in such a long time. Yeah, this chart, I don't know. This is shaky, a little bit shaky. I mean, it can go really either way right here. I mean, we're really like, it could really go either way. Could drop. But yeah, let's go back to more important things. Okay, Pharma Drug, PHRX, another one of our 10-bagger specials. Again, we're above the moving average, above 50-day moving average, so this is very bullish. LMLLF for all the Americans, PHRX for the Canadians, Pharma Drug, LMLLF. Oh, let me just change something up here. You never know. Actually, I should. You know what? I'll tell you what. I can't. Okay, there actually is another company in sort of that universe that could buy Nasdaq. Stay tuned. But there's people who Nasdaq could be a strategic acquisition for them. So you might see some things happening. But yeah, I have no question that Nasdaq could be a 20-bagger if you give it 18 months. But this next few months, you're going to watch this thing build a base and then start moving. But over the summer, I think we're going to move into the $4 or $5 range by September, October. And consolidate, move up, but it's going to take a year to get to a 10x. It's not a fast 10x, but I don't know what is. I don't know which things are getting 10 baggers today. It's a difficult market. Okay, so Pharma Drug looking very, very bullish. Again, we're above the 50-day moving average. I think you got kind of this double bottom. You've seen what the stock has done. I mean, again, this moving average, I've repeated several times. Every time this thing breaks above this 50 moving average, you have these massive runs. You had this over here back in April of 20. It went from 2 cents, 2.5 cents to 12.5. So 6 times your money you would have made. And you could have sold when it broke down below the moving average. The next time it broke above the moving average, it was 2.5, and it went to 13 or whatever, 14 cents. Actually, no, it technically went to 20 cents. So 21 cents, which would have been a 10-bagger. And now it's happening again. So the only time we've seen a fake out, the only time was back in January when it popped. And it went from, 3.5 to 6 cents, and it pulled back. So, unfortunately, you would have only made, 80%. This is like this market signal is like, I should be I mean, I really should be packaging this and selling this because this thing is just so accurate. I mean, this is like, this is like money in the bank. The 50-day moving average on pharma drug is money in the bank. What do you call dropped? Netflix, yeah, after hours. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good because I think a lot of these companies, these big tech companies that are, they're doing this whole, left wing woke thing, just trying to, they're trying to be all like, self righteous. They're all like so, wonderful and all that. I think there's a backlash. I think people are getting sick of all this stuff, whether it's Disney or all these others. I think people have had enough. I mean, the canary in the coal mine is Twitter. I mean, this is what it's about. I mean, Twitter, basically, you have a guy who wants free speech. So Elon Musk, he's a fan of free speech. He's not he's not a right wing guy. He's not a left. He's basically a middle of the road guy, which I think most people in the U.S. are. Most people probably worldwide are, common sense people. It's pretty. I think it's pretty much common sense, and these people at Twitter, they're freaking out. They're freaking out that he's gonna take over and introduce, free speech. Because look at this, these Twitter guys. I mean, look, if you really look at it, the Twitter employees, Jack Dorsey, those people, they have blood on their hands. I mean, they're responsible for what's going on in Ukraine. I mean, these people are absolutely responsible for, all the murder and mayhem. Yeah, they should be held accountable. All those Twitter employees. Why? Because they censored the report on, the whole Hunter Biden laptop thing. This was not some conspiracy theory. It was a story published. It was vetted. The New York Post published the story. They got the Hunter Biden's laptop because the guy's a drug addict, low life, and he left his laptop in a repair shop and never came back for it. Had all the evidence that this guy's getting payoffs from the Russians, from the Chinese. He's giving kickbacks to his daddy, Joe. He's giving kickbacks to, Uncle Jim and all this other stuff. I mean, he's got pictures of him smoking crack. I mean, there's other stuff. I mean, there could be, from what I understand, there's pictures of him, engaging in, what do you call it? Pedophilia. I mean, or I don't know, pedophilia, but he's, there's pictures of him with underage girls, right? I mean, I don't know how old are they. It could be 12. I don't know. It could be 17. But they're not 25. I can tell you that, right? I mean, so Hunter Biden. I mean, listen, Hunter Biden is probably a fun guy to hang out with. But the bottom line is this: if the American public knew about this, that they knew that Hunter Biden was getting kickbacks from China, from Russia, to give to his father, Joe Biden, while Joe Biden was vice president. In other words, Joe Biden is on the take. Joe Biden is bought and paid for by China, by Russia, and also very cheap. Joe Biden is just a cheap whore. I mean, a couple $1 million, that's all you got to pay this guy. That's all he got. I mean, we're not talking about billions of dollars. It might have been 10 million or whatever it is. Talk about chump change to buy a president or a vice president, access. And this is why you have this problem in Ukraine now. So basically, the Hunter Biden story got censored by Twitter, and as a result, people didn't know about it. It got censored on Facebook, big media. All of a sudden, everybody's admitting, oh, you know what? Apparently, it is true. Yeah, this Hunter. Everybody all of a sudden is now admitting to it. But Biden got into office. If this story came out, there's no way that Biden would have gotten into office. So interesting. Nuran has great stuff coming out. We got to do a live stream update with Francis very soon. We really have to. This company's finally, they're action. They did a $60 million deal. You know, that's one deal. They're gonna have more and more and more. You know, it's gonna be great. Um, okay, Sylvain, bonsoir. All right. Pharma drug, amazing. Sylvain, just if you're tuning in, very bullish situation here. Pharma drug ready to go to the moon, possibly a 100-bagger, but at least a 10x. I think we could see I think, look, again, look at this moving average thing. This thing is breaking out. Every time it breaks out, it runs. So I think we're good for 20 cents minimum. So, you know, a 4x from here, minimum 4x. But if, you know, what they're doing works out, you know, could be 50 cents, could be $1, you know. They got multiple shots on goal. They got enough things they're working on, you know. So it could be huge. It could be huge. Okay, organic garage. Organic garage today is looking ugly. This is an ugly chart. I'll be very honest with you. Let me just clear this up. I don't understand. I actually don't understand this over here. It's bizarre to me. The crazy thing though is organic garage. Since we've gotten involved, it has really become a U.S. trading stock. I mean, most of the volume now, I think a lot of the volume is in the U.S. I mean, the U.S. investor. I mean, look at this. So if you see this volume here, this is before we got involved, right? I mean, the stock traded over the counter for, I don't know, maybe a year before we got into it. And, you know, October, you know, they sign up with the Wall Street Reporter. Boom, U.S. volume comes in. A lot of volume, a lot of U.S. interest. I think the story is resonating with U.S. investors. And I think they understand the potential a lot better than the Canadians, especially for the retail stores. They understand how cheap this is. So maybe that's why it's trading in the U.S. so much. Yeah, I think we're taking a bit of it's a little bit ugly. I don't know. I actually don't understand it, but we're below the moving average, which I don't like. However, the only positive is if you look on the 4-hour, we might have an upside Q reversal tomorrow. So, you know, it's not lost. This is not one of these like fugazi type of, you know, story stocks, you know, this, that, whatever, like so many others. This is a real business. They actually have solid underlying fundamentals that are worth. I mean, this is like a deep value stock. I mean, I actually don't see any downside with this thing. Like literally no downside. I mean, you know, anything can go to zero, but you know, you're trading at a 15 million market cap. You're doing, you know, 30 million revenues with 4 retail stores. I mean, those stores are, that business alone is, I mean, the brand Organic Garage is a phenomenal brand. I think that stock could be the ultimate, like literally a 100-bagger stock, literally. You know what? Look, I mean, I'll tell you what. You know, this stock, they actually do need to have more news flow. There is no question. There is no question. It's like, you know, this needs a lot of support overall. It's almost like they gotta have. It's almost like they gotta have news every week. I mean, it's just I don't know why, but it's one of these stocks. Like right now, it's just, especially in this market, we're in a very bad bear market, and you know, I think just a lot of the Canadian investors don't understand the story. So it's kind of an opportunity for the Americans to steal this. That's what it is. Yeah. And by the way, the company's not doing I think that's the other thing. People were worried, oh, they're going to do a raise, it's going to be dilutive. They could have done it over the last 6 months. How come they haven't done it? They're not going to be doing it at these prices. That's the bottom line. They're going to be waiting. Q1 last year when they say, you know, I think that was probably a very different story, to be very fair, I should say, to be fair, because look, when they said co-packer last year, they didn't have any product, right? If you're talking about, you're talking about, are you talking about last year, meaning October, November, or are you talking about last year, 12 months ago? If you're talking about November, yeah, around Q1. By the way, guess where we are? We're around Q1. We're at the end of the Q1 ended. We're like a week into Q2. So we're around there. I mean, these things might take a little longer. And look, I get it. A lot of people probably saying, hey, we need this thing. We need the people are not patient. This business is not, things don't happen quick. It just doesn't happen quick. I think people will be rewarded though. Okay, the guy lied. They don't have 10 SKUs. They have, I don't know, 6 SKUs. I mean, look, they've done everything else. I mean, no, it's, there's a goal, right? People say, here's the goal, and, we work towards it. The reality is that, Organic Garage, Matt, has delivered, pretty much everything he said he would do. I mean, some things take longer. I mean, I'm not aware of any CEO that we've ever had that's ever said, hey, we're going to have this by Q1, and it happened Q1. I mean, it's like a rarity. I mean, I don't want those people. I mean, because that's like it means they mean, if somebody tells you they're going to have X by Q1 and they get it, it means that they aimed too low. They were aiming too low. That's what it means. I mean, we want to see people, set high goals. At least they're going to aim for something. I mean, aim for the stars. At least you'll get to the moon, right? I mean, aim for 100-bagger. That's the goal here. I mean, I'm aiming for 100-bagger, like legitimately. I'm looking for stocks which potentially could be 100-bagger, or at least, 50x. And, look, if I'm wrong, it might only be a 10x, maybe even a 5x. I mean, a 5-bagger is a lot better than a lot of other stocks are doing these days. So, yeah. So, look, the guy's been delivering. You got to be a little bit patient. You really have to be a little patient. I mean, yeah, it's interesting. You know what? I'll tell you something. So when we got involved with Organic Garage, was here, right? October, right? I'm going to show the U.S. chart here. So I had a little pop, right? I mean, the story then is the same story. I mean, actually, it made a lot of sense to get into the stock then. I mean, logically, this was not a pump. It wasn't like something where, all these guys made a mistake. No, the people who were buying Organic Garage back in October, at 30 cents or whatever, 35 cents, 40 cents, that was the right decision based on the fundamentals. Absolutely the right decision. And look, the stock took off. The stock basically doubled. It doubled within a month. Even 60 cents in the American chart, if somebody was buying it at 60 cents, that was the right decision based on the fundamentals. I mean, this stock is really worth, I would say, legitimately $1. Like right now, it's worth $1. So if you're buying it under $1, that's the correct decision based on the intrinsic value, based on the brand value. Organic Garage, I don't think you guys even understand how big that brand can be. The strategic value is minimum, 75, 100 million. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's more, I mean, to me, the story was the same then as it is now. I mean, the guy basically delivered everything he said he would do. Well, he's getting there. He's 70% of the way there. I mean, the co-packer thing, I know, but it's going to happen at some point, right? It's not like this is going to go on forever. They got the right people. I mean, they got this guy, Matt Merson, they got Yossi, they got other guys. They have resources now. I mean, it's not like, it's not like a guy who's just getting started in that business. They actually have people. Matt has the people around him. He's got the team that's been there and done it. I mean, these guys have built billion-dollar brands. I mean, this guy, Matt Merson, I mean, I don't know, he took some, I don't know, plant-based chicken nuggets or something and became a billion-dollar brand in like a year. He's going to do the same thing here. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep calling it, Origin. Yeah, Origin. I'm sorry. Organic Garage. Whatever. Look, I'm behind the times. Origin Foods. Yeah. So again, it is Origin because you get the retail stores, You got the plant food, right? And by the way, the guy is executing. They split the company into two. That was I think that was a very important announcement. People don't understand the significance because basically now they have two operating units. Origin Foods, Chris, very good point. Origin Foods. They got the organic garage retail business, future of cheese, and other brands to be announced soon, possibly, right? Again, it's a stupid stock right here. This price is like, ridiculous. People are going to be looking back on this. When this thing is going to be trading at $3, $5, they're going to be looking and saying, "Wow, how come you didn't tell me about this when it was 25 cents, 30 cents?" People, I guarantee you, we're going to have those people saying, "Oh, what's your next 10? What's your next grand floor?" And they're not going to get in on the next grand floor. Those people never get in. Everybody chases. Listen, believe me, this thing is going to be a huge win. $15 million market cap. Are you kidding me? This thing is legitimately 75 million, 100 million based on what they have now. That's a 7x from here, $2. It's crazy. Yeah, ridiculous, stupidly cheap. So we talked about Origin Foods, Nextech, what else? Novamentis, excuse me, Novamind. That was an old client. Novamentis. Okay, Novamentis, beast mode volume here. Look at this beautiful chart. We're above 50-day moving average. What do these things have in common? Look at this. Novamentis. You got PHRX, also above the moving average in a very big way. So these are cheap stocks. A nickel, 10 cents, easy 5-10x. You got Neuran. Oh, Neuran. I'm sorry I didn't get to Neuran. There's another great looking chart. This is like you get this massive kind of pennant wedge or whatever you want to call it. We broke above the moving average and pulled back, a bit of a fake out. But again, actually right now it's looking very, very strong. What I think is when this thing, and you got a double bottom here. Let me tell you something. Neuran, when this thing gets going, is going to go completely nuts. This is a stock that could run to $10. It's ridiculous. Look at this MACD crossover. This is bullish. We're going to get Francis on very shortly here. I'm glad he hasn't been on. I want you to build a, I want you to have a, what do you call it, withdrawal syndrome. So when he comes back, everybody loads into the stock. That actually works sometimes. But yeah, no, this is an amazing deal here. Again, look at the press releases. This is a real deal. Yeah, this chart is no good. This 4 hour is not clear. The 1 hour you got to look at. Wow. Again, this is a stock. The charts don't lie. For what it's worth, it's been $12. So it's been $10, $7. Can it do it again? Yeah. You got a massive pennant with a double bottom, MACD. You got to break above this $1.57. And after that, it's going to be like literally, it's going to be like a Mars rocket going to like Planet HundredBagger. I think it's easy going to be 10x. We're not working. We haven't been worked with RHT in a while, like since early March. So, they may come back at some point. Look, I like their business. I know there was a short report that came out last week, I think. Apparently the stock is actually holding up pretty well. But, look, I got to tell you this. The problem is, one of the values of what we bring to the table with a lot of these stocks is when you have a high valuation, right? Like when you get into $100, $200 million market valuation, that becomes a very tempting target for short sellers. So it's like, it's like you're taking a Rolls Royce, a $500,000 Rolls Royce, convertible, driving into a bad neighborhood, and you're leaving a stack of hundreds on the seat, with a top down, doors. Do you think that the car is going to be there, when you come back? No, but I'll tell you what. If you have the same car, you got the top down, you got a stack of hundreds on the passenger seat, but you have a vicious pit bull in the back. You have two vicious pit bulls sitting there. Nobody's going to touch that car. Nobody wants to take that chance. That's what happens with, when you have Wall Street Reporter working with these companies, the short sellers know this because they've gotten burned. We've had a bunch of short squeezes we've run on these guys. I mean, whether it was with Nextech, whether it was with, who else we did this with, a bunch of others. So these guys don't mess with with short sellers, don't mess with companies when Wall Street Reporters involved, because we're bringing volume. They don't want to get short squeezed. There are better targets out there when there's no defense. But look, I mean, I don't know. Let's see what happens. Hey, they might come back. I think once, I think this, the stock, who knows? I don't know. Look, let's revisit that situation. But we're not involved with them right now. I like the business. I like Lisa. Percentage wise. Chris, what was your question? Which percentage are you talking about? If you could explain. I'm not sure what your question is. What is the question? If you can clarify the question. Oh, yeah. Listen, here's the thing you got to understand. The sweet spot in the microcap space for Canadian companies especially is up to about 600 million. Once you go above 600 million, it's very difficult to move these stocks. And that's the problem with Peak FinTech. That's what happened with Peak. I mean, it's mismatched the market. It just doesn't work. But OG, 13 million. Yeah, it's a 15 million market cap. It could be 13 million. I mean, 15, whatever it is, right? 130 million is nothing. I mean, the brand is worth a ton of money. Yeah, there you go. Look, promotion is very important. Promotion is important. And I don't know. Actually, MindMed, I'm not familiar with that story really. Like, did they do anything ever? Did they actually ever do anything or not? But if the guy was smart, he would have used that paper to make acquisitions or whatever. But a lot of those guys never did. I don't know. It's very strange. But yeah, I think the psychedelics actually is going to be very good in the coming 6 months. I think we're going to see a lot of action. Let's see here. Okay, so let's wrap up. Look, I'll cover all the other stocks on another live stream. I just wanted to give you the heads up. Right now, we're seeing some amazing opportunities in these stocks. I don't want you to miss it. Like, it's actually happening like literally right now. So you got New Rand is looking really strong right now, very, very strong. You got Nextech, again, 10-bagger upside potential. This is the one-day chart. You have a massive base here. This chart kind of looks, you got to look at it the right way. You got to stretch it out. There you go. You have this massive base that's been built up. I mean, the more I look at this chart, the more I like it. You got a really nice base. When the stock, I'm telling you, when Nextech breaks out above $1.10, that's the moving average. It's going to be off to the races. I mean, it could be, look what happened the last time it broke above that moving average. When was that time? It was right over here. It went from, $1 to $10, 10x. I mean, you had this over here also. So you had from, whatever, 6 to 8, whatever the number was. You had one small fake out. Two small. This didn't count. Didn't close. So yeah, two small fake. So basically, if you look at the track record of this moving average as a good trend system, deadly accurate. I mean, like uncanny. I mean, look at this. The first time it broke above the moving average, I mean, that we can really track was right over here at I don't know, was this like 50 cents? I can't even see on the chart. Is it 30? Is it 30 cents? 30 cents. It went to 250, pulled back. You should have sold it when it broke below. It broke out again from 80 to $10. I mean, deadly accurate. I mean, this 50-day moving average for Nasdaq is like a money. It's like a. What happened to my charts? My charts are screwed up. Okay, my charts are screwed up. So basically, bottom line is, the charts are already screwed up. So, all right, this might be the time to go. Deadly accurate. When it breaks out above the 50-day moving average over here, which is about to happen. I think we're getting very, very close. This chart is all screwed up. Anyway, let's just say it's $1, okay? It's got to break above $1. When it breaks above $1, very good chance of going to 10x. What are they doing? I think it's like shit. I mean, it's 20 million plus. But the problem, no, it's more. So it's a decent number. The problem is a lot of it is from that e-commerce business that they have. The actual, the AR or whatever. And this is, people have made a whole big deal out of it, which is bullshit. But the actual AR business is like maybe 5 million or something. So it's and it's actually, and it's going to flip. But even with what it is, the company's undervalued based on what they have. So, but yeah, look at their filings, whatever. I don't have the numbers offhand, but bottom line is that chart that tells you all you need to know. When Nasdaq breaks above that 50-day moving average, this thing is going to moon. So with that said, thank you everybody for joining. I will see you all on the next live stream.